Now to mayoral candidate Olivia Chow making a campaign announcement in downtown Toronto. We'll take you live right now.
That's $11 per household. Because of the ambulance and the fire, yeah, sorry about that. Let me do that one again. We'll finance the building of these 25,000 units by accepting the federal national housing funds. That's $82 billion. Surely, City of Toronto being the financial center of Canada and the biggest city of Canada, we would get a share of that funds. To show our seriousness, we're willing to put down a down payment of $400 million over 8 years. Where is that coming from? From the city building funds. Okay? We're adding a third of the 1% into these funds, and it will cost each household in Toronto $11 a year. For far too long, City Hall has walked away and stopped building housing. That will stop now for me as your mayor. We're seeing the impact of it on our streets, in our food bank. Now, with this new housing development, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Together, let's build a city that is affordable, safe, and caring, where everyone belongs. Questions? That's right. So the financing of it is these 25,000 units are on city land. We're going to do the development. We'll ask private developers to help build it, but we'll keep the land. We'll keep the building, just like this one. It's city-owned, okay? Not privately owned. And the funding will come partially from the federal government. It will also be self-financing in many ways because 70% of it is market, and another 30% are affordable. Okay, so it's cross-subsidy, right? And we will also put down a down payment, and we're $400 million, and that is from a tax levy of 1/3 of a 1%, which is about $11 per household per year.
What assurances do you have that the federal government is going to make this commitment?
Well, the federal government has, let me tell you, they have the rental construction financing initiatives. There is $26 billion in that fund, and they're asking people to partner with them. They have the National Housing Co-Investment Fund, $13 billion in total, asking for a partnership. And this year, there's a new fund called the Housing Accelerator Fund. And guess what? It's $4 billion. We're just looking for $300 million of a $4 billion fund. Surely, the federal government that said they are committed through a national housing strategy, that all this money they are putting on the table, surely City of Toronto will get a small portion of it. And to show that we are serious, we're putting our money where our mouth is, right? We're putting in the money to start the down payment. We will put that money in, $400 million over 8 years, so we could start the building and not wait. Why hasn't it been done before? Because there's a lack of political leadership. Let me just be blunt about it. That somehow the city have walked away. The city leaders have walked away from people, from building housing. We've done 20,000 units of housing. It has worked before. And it just boils me up that how ridiculous it is that these city leaders have completely vacate the field and say, wash their hands. It's not my responsibility. We will not build. We'll see the crisis that has the result. The crisis on the street, the crisis on the food bank, the crisis that are etched in the face of young people, of seniors, the anxiousness, the exhaustion, the stressed out people. And this is what's happening after a decade of doing nothing. Downtown traffic congestion. Well, let's start with fixing the potholes, okay? The potholes are serious. The congestion, well, how do we do it? If there are better housing where people can work where they live close by, they won't have to drive so far, okay? Number two, if we have better public transit, if we stop cutting services and asking people to pay more, then probably a lot more people wouldn't have to drive their cars. And thirdly, if we can create safer streets, more people would be walking, right? So I think it's a combination of all those things. I would like to see, especially during construction, some weekends, I see these empty roads, just have pylons on it. Why? Right? Why? It's empty, right? Move the pylon, let traffic go through. You can work that out with contractors. So I think it just needs some work, needs some coordination, needs a bit of imagination, and I think we'll just create a better city that way. But let's fix the potholes first, because you can lose your wheel or your alignment will go nuts, right?
Recent Navigator poll with Keep Toronto Moving suggested that 70% of the public do not want bike lanes on major arterial roads such as University Avenue, such as Bloor Street, Danforth Avenue, or Yonge Street. How do you respond to that, and are you prepared to continue to battle with the public over this?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just imagining all those people that are cycling, ditching their bikes. A lot of them have cars, and then flood the street driving. Good Lord, let's not do that, right? How else would they travel? They could walk, but if it's pretty far away, they're gonna drive. So in cities where the traffic is not as severe as ours, a lot of people are walking and biking, and many different modes of transit. I think, you know, at the end of the day, whether you're stuck in traffic, well, if you're stuck in traffic, whether you're behind the wheels of a car or on a bus, you're still stuck. You're stuck in a streetcar with all these traffic around you. So I think the bike lanes encourage more cyclists to come out, meaning there will be fewer drivers on the street. So I think it's a win-win situation. I don't think it's an either-or.
Allow the traffic people...
Okay, we've been listening into mayoral candidate Olivia Chow's campaign announcement about building affordable homes in the city. She says she has a plan to build 25 units in the city, and that would be cross-subsidized between the city of Toronto and money from the federal government. The city would invest $400 million over 8 years from something called the City Building Funds, and that would cost each household in the city about $11 a year to help create that fund.